Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hub, the center for commando casting, militant casting, the show known worldwide as the Yin and The Yang. And I am still the former two-time USW heavyweight champion and lifelong martial artist known as Anthony Chu, a.k.a. Chuzilla, the ultimate thriller, all muscle, no filler, baby. And on today's episode, my broadcasting partner and I go a little above the law. We give a respectful tribute to the late, great Bruno Sammartino. We have an announcement about a new segment that will debut soon. I need a cup of coffee. We have a new segment, ladies and gentlemen, that will debut soon on the show, and we'll talk about that. Chewed Out, Q&A, and a whole lot more. Now, to join me in this crusade to educate, extrapolate, and disseminate the deluge of information and knowledge to the millions and millions of Yin and Yang fans, allow me to give this man his proper introduction. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is the tower of podcasting power. He loves his sweet and sour. In a fight, this man will not cower. He should have his own morning show, not starring Matt Lauer. And oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, 24 hours a day, this man is always the man of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the owner, the king, and the guru of the More of the Same network, Larry. My cardio this morning was running out of fucks to give, Mormon.
Oof, that was a good one. What's going on, Yin and Yang universe?
Did you like that?
I did.
My cardio this morning was running out of fucks to give.
I like it.
You know where I got that from, right?
Some sort of meme somewhere on the internet.
Paul Heyman.
Oh, really?
I was listening to him in the Sam Roberts podcast, and I came across this. I'm not a fan of Sam Roberts, but I do have to say this. I was a pretty interesting thing to say. I thought it would be a Cornette saying, but he was talking about how, he lives his life and all that. And I just thought, I was like, damn, I got to write this down. Just remember, one piece of advice from the great Jim Cornette, my inspiration for doing this podcast is simply this. If you take from one, it's called plagiarism. If you take from many, it's called research.
There you go. Good old Jimmy Cornette. Jimmy Cornette. I was just, it's funny. Every now and again, I'll listen on YouTube, some little clips of him. Like, I guess people send him clips of like a botch or just something stupid happening in the indie world.
Oh, yeah.
And he just goes off on it. Like the guy who DVD'd that other guy right on the top of his head.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. That is just nuts. And by the way, so how's your week, man?
It's been good. It's been a week, so I'm tired. But I'm going to, without going, I know a few months ago we used to talk about it a lot, and then some things came up, which I backed off about. But I will say that this week I will be returning to the gym. That's all. I'll leave it at that for now. But I'm going to be hurting. I'm going to be tired by the end of the week.
What day this week?
That I have to figure out because I think I may have some company coming over this week, so I got to figure it out.
Same trainer?
Yes.
Do you know what you're going to be doing?
Probably the same stuff as usual.
So you didn't go to meet your trainer for a few weeks?
Well, he was on vacation. I was on vacation. I got hurt. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Now, a lot of the fans have been emailing me and saying, "Hey, get better, Larry." Like they don't even acknowledge me anyway. So
why should they?
But why should they? How dare you say such a statement like that to
I'm curious. No, because
your premier star?
You can't come up with any reasons. I figure you'd be giving me a laundry list of reasons.
You should be damn lucky that I'm even on this network because of the fact that. Let me ask you a question here, owner, king, guru, blah blah blah. All right. You go into any podcast that has two voices. I don't care whether it's Cornette's, fuck Vince Russo. I don't care if it's Kenny Bolin. I don't care if it's Jericho. I don't care who it is, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You tell me one other podcast in the entire podcasting world that does an introduction for their co-host the way I do. Go ahead, name me one.
This is true. You have
So
you have found your niche in the podcast world.
You are lucky that I am on this show, and you are lucky that I even do this show. You are lucky that I'm on this network. Even though I'm sure there are two people last week who just disagreed completely because they found that you're the nucleus of the show.
I hold the glue together. I am the glue.
And speaking of your array, okay, your cornucopia of shows that you have on this network here, I did a little invading this past week.
You did. You sure did. Myself and Frank Messina, we did our third Better Half podcast live on Facebook, this time from the humble abode, the mansion, in one of these smaller rec rooms that I have in this giant mansion.
Yeah.
And
Better Half 3, Yin and Yang 0.
We're not there yet.
Oh, I'm sure we're not there yet. Yeah, okay.
And we played around with call-in.
Whoa.
With call-in segment. With a call-in segment.
Okay, I was going to say, what were you playing around with?
And, yeah, you weaseled your way yet again onto the Better Half podcast live.
Now, if you're trying to give me a salute as to the greatness of me being like Bobby Heenan by calling me a weasel, then I accept that as a compliment. But listen, I called in, the man gave me his number, and against the technical advice of Ensign over here, who, by the way, Ensign actually went out to get some more cookies and cream ice cream.
I saw that.
Anyway,
I'm going to bitch slap him, and I'm going to knock his teeth out like chiclets.
Well, are you okay? Well, the fans were asking, speaking of that, let's just sidetrack for a second. The fans were asking, number one, is your foot better? I don't know why people would be concerned about your foot. But the second question was a lot of fans were asking me, stuff like that was, they wanted to know, and they were actually emailing the Yin and Yang Facebook page, as well as the Gmail account that we had. They wanted to know if you were okay from the severe beating that you took from Ensign last week.
Well, my foot has recovered. Thank you very much. For those who cared, for those who sent their well wishes, for those who sent the cards. I got more cards than
cards.
Yes, I got more cards than Matilda did when she got kidnapped by the Islanders and Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh, for God's sake! Oh my God.
And the roses, the bouquets that were sent, they were very lovely. Thank you very much. I promptly I threw them all away, but it were very, very nice.
These were probably all from militants because the commandos know much better than to do such a thing.
But last week, the egregious, violent, most asinine move that one human being can make against another, when the auspicious Ensign decided to invade my mansion, to invade my property. And Jeremiah, you useless sack of shit, you just sat there. Yeah.
By the way,
no, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't care if he bit you or not. I told you. You shoot him right between the eyes.
You.
No, I don't want to shoot a gun. Pussy. That's all I got to say.
Wow. Between me using the word cunt and you using pussy, that's interesting. Well, hey, listen. It's actually technically legal now since you look at a lot of the VH1 reality shows, the word pussy is allowed.
There you go. Well, no. See, what happened was he was holding my kitty cat. So I was enunciating to him, to look out because King Jericho III, he was parading around here, and I didn't want him to get hurt or anything. But Jeremiah is useless, and Ensign will be replicated, will be emancipated, will be elaborated, and will be so much in trouble.
And by the way, you forgot one word.
What?
Celebrated, because that was the greatest form of entertainment that I've actually seen through. Oh my God, that was funny.
You enjoyed watching that?
I enjoyed a 98-pound weakling soaking wet with a brick in his pocket to form 98 pounds, beat the ever-loving daylights out of the last reigning transcontinental champion. That was funny. You know he knows better not to fuck with me. All right, but that was fun. That was funny.
Listen, I may have to send Jeremiah over there, so you be careful. You watch out.
Oh, yeah? You're going to send me a guy who the only pussy he'll ever get in his life is holding your cat.
King Jericho III.
Yeah, okay, King Jericho, please. Might as well just call him King Owens with the way that fucking thing eats.
What? You leave my cat alone.
I'll send your fucking cat to Mr. Tang, goddammit.
I know exactly what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, well, it ain't going to be alive, I'll tell you that much, but that's a different... So I love all animals, okay? I mean, unlike Ace Ventura, who beat the shit out of a bird or something like that at the end of the movie. But anyway, we have a show to...
Snowflake.
It's not
Snowflake.
And a lover of all animals, Ace Ventura, he just looks up and just gives that crazy smile. That was funny as hell. So, yes, so the better half. You guys do a hell of a show. I got to say, I listen to it every week. Even though Frank doesn't listen to my show, and it's all right, he doesn't have to, I do the right thing, and I promote. Hey, when I have these long rides going to the grind, it's good to have a podcast because it keeps me up and going. So my segment, in case you want to listen, Larry, how do the fans listen to this?
It's live. You can watch the live feed on Facebook Live and on YouTube, and the audio portion of it will drop. Well, it dropped this past Wednesday.
By the way, is it true that there's a certain wing of Mormon Manor that actually is called the Messina Room?
No. He's way down the block. Like, he's not even in my zip code. I zoned it, so I'm the only one in the area. I threw him $14 to help renovate his house, so hopefully that will help him on the job that's currently being made right now.
Oh, so you can actually give him $14 to renovate the house, but you can't shed a half of that money to send me to Chiller Theater. That's really nice, Larry. Thank you very much.
Chiller Theater
Once again caught in the act.
Wait, no, hold on. Chiller Theater is not an officially recognized, sanctioned, more of the same network entity that we will be attending, whereas... From what I understand, you said you would flip the bill at Ruth Chris, which is awesome, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate it that you would pay for it lock, stock, and barrel. However...
openly admitting, yes, I would.
Oh, really?
Yes, I would.
Oh, okay. Let's see about that.
I'm making enough grind money.
Oh, excuse me. What about the podcast money that you make? Where's all that go?
You spent all that in New Orleans.
I told you.
It's probably left to some hooker in Bourbon Street.
Oh, she can only be so lucky. But that was a thick Adam's apple. I didn't understand that part.
Oh.
The what? What? Oh, I'm sorry. No. I told you I will give you a little bit of a stipend to update your audio over there, over at the compound.
Yeah, right. It's like I said, right? You know you're lying when you're flying. You've already flown twice. Now.
But you were very good on the better half. You were very good on the better half.
Well, thank you very much, sir. It's what I do best. It's what I probably do better than anyone in the world.
Well, I don't know about that, but.
Let's just leave it at that. Now, believe it or not, that was on the agenda. So we're already doing the show.
Look at that. We are actually sticking to the script.
Absolutely. Script. Well, there's an agenda. It's not a script.
I'm sorry.
We don't choreograph anything. This is not a professional wrestling match. However, this is a great segue, Larry. As I had said, your segue game is becoming better and better every week. Now, fans, we received some really bad news on April 18th, which is actually this past week. We found out that we were in midweek, so we were dropping the 29th episode to you this past Friday, and we found out that was it April 18th, right, Larry?
It was, April 18th. Yep.
Right, that the legendary And I'm talking about when you say legend, this man is a legend in the game. The great and late Bruno Sammartino, who was known as the living legend Bruno Sammartino, had passed away at the age of 82 years old. Now, a lot of you may be wondering exactly who this human being is, because I remember when I got it, I was in the grind and I mentioned it to a lot of my coworkers, and a lot of them just kind of looked at me and said, who the hell is Bruno Sammartino? Now, you don't have to know who Hulk Hogan is even if you don't watch wrestling, right? Well, there is an entire generation that spans over 3 to 4 decades that knows who Bruno Sammartino is. And before Hulk Hogan, before John Cena, before The Rock, before Stone Cold, and dare even I say before Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, there was Bruno Sammartino. I mean, and let's make sure I get one thing very clear and out of the way. Bruno Sammartino is not a sports entertainer. He didn't play a character. He certainly didn't he certainly didn't have a gimmick. He was actually himself. And Bruno Sammartino is a professional wrestler. And he was born in Abruzzo, Italy. He's actually an immigrant story and defining the American dream, because the man came from poverty. He was escaping the Nazis with his family, and he came to America not speaking any English. He came as a very weak, sickly kid, and then emerges as an amazing, with an amazing physique, got into professional wrestling, and he has a distinction amongst wrestling fans. He was in many different territories, such as big city wrestling with the Sheik and a lot of these other people who promoted events around the nation. But where he made his true money and his name was in the WWF that was owned by Vince McMahon Sr. And he was actually the longest reigning WWE champion in the history of the company.
Probably in the history of the business.
Probably in the history of business, or over 11 years, right?
Combined. He had 2 title reigns. His first reign lasted 7 years. Second reign lasted 5. And a total combined days of 4,040 days as WWE champion.
He also holds one other distinction, which is he has sold out Madison Square Garden more than any other professional athlete in the history of Madison Square Garden.
He has. It's been rumored that the exact number may be a little bit inflated, but regardless, he still sold out the Garden continuously and consecutively for a very, very long time.
Absolutely. And what's amazing, and I mean, even when he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, he was, you could say in a sense that he sold out Madison Square Garden one more time.
He did, and he wasn't even supposed to be at that Hall of Fame. Every year for the Hall of Fame, there's always that marquee superstar that the Hall of Fame and WrestleMania kind of centers themselves around. And this was for WrestleMania 29, which was in New York. It was at MetLife Stadium. And like you just said, the Hall of Fame was at Madison Square Garden. That year, it was supposed to be Mick Foley. Foley was the centerpiece of that year's Hall of Fame. But I guess because it was the Garden, it's New York, and Triple H was able to get a hold of Bruno, because Bruno, for a very, very long time, was not happy with the business. He separated himself from the business, especially the WWE, especially when they went the Attitude. He was not happy whatsoever with the Attitude Era. Look, that's his opinion. It depends on who you talk to.
And by the way, Brandon will also agree with me that Bruno Sammartino was not a professional wrestler who threw invisible hand grenades. He didn't break out into a dance.
They didn't have that back then.
Well, I'm just saying, what I'm trying to say is that he's a man's man. And you're talking about a guy.
Man's man. He's a man.
Hey, whoa. Let's not disrespect the man for a second here. All right? I mean, if he was alive, that would be a different story. But Bruno also set a world record in bench press with a lift of, at the time, this was considered a world record of 565 pounds, and he did it without elbow or wrist straps.
There you go.
I mean, even Muscle and Fitness's own Joe Weider had actually recognized this. When he brought the bar down, he didn't even bounce it off his chest, but it sat there for 2 seconds before he attempted the press. And he trained in wrestling with Rex Perry, who was the University of Pittsburgh team coach at the time. He was also known for performing strongman stunts in the Pittsburgh area. And by the way, he did pass away in Pittsburgh. And ironically, in a different light, so did Luscious Johnny Valiant, the great late Luscious Johnny V. You know, so it was amazing, you know, because, I mean, he wrestled during a time where, you know, and seeing Arnold inducting him, you know, one of the things, if you go back, that he said was, San Martino, you know, when you look at him, you know, he's been through Canada, Detroit. He went through so many different territories, but ended up making his name with Vince McMahon Sr., is that, you know, it's very surprising that he even survived till the age of 82, because the amount of bumps on those mats back in those days, that was not a joke.
No, not at all.
That was like being slammed on concrete pretty much. You know, there was no give. It wasn't bouncy. There were no microphones underneath. And, I mean, the man was no joke. I mean, I was told, I had a friend of mine who, my friend Vincent basically said to me that he met Bruno and shook his hand. Bruno's hand was the size of two of his, you know?
Yeah.
And his grip strength was ridiculous. There was also
his finisher was the bear hug.
Exactly. There you go. I mean, when you look at it that way, you're talking about a guy who put people like Yukon Eric in a bear hug.
Yeah.
Guys who were huge, I mean, at the time. And Bruno was only, 5'10" and weighed like 280 pounds? Or at least his build.
Something like that.
Was between 265 to 280. I mean, this is a no-joke, raw-boned, tough son of a bitch.
Yeah, and he's won multiple Match of the Year awards. He's definitely done himself good.
And he's also probably going down in history as the only person probably that the Iron Sheik loved more than anyone else. If you look at how many promos Sheiky's cut on people, let me tell you, he loved Bruno. Loved Bruno. Thought the world of him.
What was there to hate? Even during his time, during Bruno Sammartino's time where he wasn't happy with WWE, he was very, very much against Vince McMahon and the Attitude Era. And look, I get it from, I guess, his point of view. I get it. Also get it from Vince's point of view, the direction he was going in. It was a sign of the times. So they were both in the right in their own way. But, as time went on, WWE went to PG. Sammartino, saw that things were better. And that's when he started coming back and, almost like an ambassador, if you will. What I didn't realize, though, at the end of his life, he was in the hospital for 2 months before he died.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, the man was lifting weights almost practically every day. He was working out. I mean, and he took good care of himself. Look, if he didn't, he probably would have passed on earlier.
Absolutely. And he probably wouldn't have been champion for 4,040 days.
Right. And also, let me also say this. For all the Italian listeners out there or people of Italian descent, he represented the Italian people in a great manner. He was a hero. I mean, there were people in their homes who literally put a picture, in a lot of Italian homes, who put a picture of Jesus, and right next to Jesus was Bruno.
And that's kind of what it was in Madison Square Garden. Back in the territory days, Vince Sr. and Jr., for a little while, ran out of New York, ran out of the Northeast, ran out of Madison Square Garden. And with MSG, one of the reasons why Bruno also was popular was because of the huge Italian immigrant base that New York had. New York was very heavy Italian. It's kind of the same reason how Pedro Morales got over as champion with, the Puerto Rican community. in New York City until someone stole his belt. But with Bruno, it was definitely that Italian community, which is huge in New York and all 5 boroughs, really, that I think was also a part of his success. And he's going to be sorely, sorely missed. He was definitely one of the best. I mean, look, we all at some point have to write the final chapter. He was 82. God bless him. That's really a good age to hit, where nowadays these guys are dropping at 40 years old, 30 years old, in their 20s sometimes. So it's nice to see, a former professional wrestler, or not even a professional wrestler, actually make it to his 80s successfully.
Right, absolutely. Also, he trained people like Larry Zbyszko, looked upon him, and there was a storyline where Zbyszko turned on him.
It was match of the year, Shea Stadium.
Right, absolutely. And then he got him back for it, I mean, there was so many things. And he was also a broadcaster. He was also a commentator.
He was. I remember that. Yep.
Right. He did well on that, and then pretty much, it's like he also did not. Also, by the way, let me also say this. There's a very distinct thing about Bruno as well that probably made him live till 82. God bless him, which is the fact that he lived through and was an athlete during the time where steroids were illegal. And he didn't take any steroids. Or legal? Oh, sorry, were legal.
Yeah.
And he did not take anything. He was a natural-made physique. He did not do anything, that would hurt his body. I mean, you got to give the man a lot of credit. He's never been under any allegations, any claims or anything like that. So, I mean, you got to look at it this way. He did lots, not just for professional wrestling, but for athletics, as well as for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Inducting him, he's also recognized by the bodybuilding community as well. And I'll say this one last thing. I mean, they don't make men like this anymore. They really don't. He, again, I keep saying that he's a man's type of man. And he really, came from that old school where, that was a tough generation. And the man's been through so much. And, he's an inspiration even to this day for a lot of wrestling fans. And I mean, they looked upon him, and they do still look upon him as a legend for a reason, and the man is a legend. Trust me. So we extend our condolences, even though, and I know this is a little late with the timing of our recording, we extend our condolences to Bruno Sammartino's family, his fans, such as us, all the commandos and militants. If you don't know who this man is, look him up. Get on the WWE Network for how much, Larry?
$9.99, and your first month is free for new subscribers.
Well, thank you very much there, Michael Cole.
And you'll get the greatest Royal Rumble live this Friday.
Okay, all right. Well, we're not talking about – listen, stop. We're not promoting the WWE. We're trying to promote and give tribute to the man.
But all joking aside, on the network, if you want to watch a great interview, watch Legends with JBL, and he interviews Bruno Sammartino. It's a fantastic episode.
And it's interesting, I mean, as much as, they've said that JBL is a bully and this and that and all that other stuff, he gave Bruno a lot of respect.
He did, yeah, but JBL's, I don't believe those rumors. He can be hard around the edges, but I don't believe those rumors. Like the whole thing with him and Mauro Ranallo, I don't believe it.
Poor Mauro.
He's doing fantastic. He's much better off in NXT.
Well, I'm glad he rose above the bullshit,
Yeah.
So we just want to say, rest in peace, legend. Thank you, Bruno Sammartino, for everything you've done for the sport of professional wrestling. Without you, there would be no wrestling today, So thank you so much, and God bless you, my friend. So with that said, I mean, I think about it, and it's just like the man's lived a full life, and I would love to do the same and live a full life as well, and live a long time, man, a long time. So that's why, we always say, take care of yourselves, everybody. Now, speaking of, I wanted to actually segue into something that's rather interesting. And this is something that, speaking of Bruno, this actually has a connection to Bruno Sammartino. So I don't really want to put a lot into this, and I don't want to really sound very self-promoting when I say this, but this is the truth, and there is a moral to this. So fans, if you could do me a favor and just bear with me for a moment here. It's been 5 years since 2013's WWE Hall of Fame, where we got to see Bruno inducted. You and I went, we were sitting in different places, but we got to see the man inducted. And it was on that same night that I was liberated from something. And we did a test record on this, but I didn't like the final cut of it. So I told our technical team to kind of get this out of the way and change it, so I can get another chance to record this. 5 years ago, I did something after that Hall of Fame show that completely liberated me. And that is that there was someone and a good amount of negative people that I surrounded myself with. Now, there is a saying that, and I'm going to take something from Mark Merrill here. He says that if you show me your friends, I show you your future. You are who you associate with. And this goes for anybody of any age, of whomever you are. It's the brutal, honest truth, is that if, your friends are a lot like elevators. They'll either bring you up, they'll bring you down, or they'll bring you or make you stay right where you are. And for a long time, I hung around with not a bad crowd, but it's not exactly a positive crowd. And Larry, you ever meet people, who you have to really watch yourself around, like watch what you say, because any little thing can just set them off?
Oh, absolutely. I can't stand that.
Right. And, when you're miserable like that for whatever reason, and it's self-inflicted, what begins to happen is you project that around people. And then if you hang around with these people long enough, you become like that too. It's inevitable. It's a theory of adaptation, and I adapted a very negative image. And on that night, I said something, and it doesn't matter what it was. And it was quite a minor thing. And this supposed friend that I had, it just got him upset. And you know what? It was on that day I kind of felt like, hey, let me go my way. They go their way. And I just revamped myself. And, my late great friend, Jerry Pope, who I love and admire so much, and he has passed on back in 2013. And the thing about what Jerry always said to me was that negative people, cut them off. Because what begins to happen is you get this weight on your shoulders that you can't handle. And eventually, how do you alleviate that weight if you keep associating with these people? Is that you basically become the weight yourself. And so always surround. And he said to me, and Jerry, God bless you, man. He said, the other way to alleviate that weight off your shoulders is just to cut them off and hang around with people who are better than you. That in any field of endeavor. That way you improve yourself. He's like, you live once. You live once on this planet. And I'll never forget this. He said to me, you live once on this planet. You can't go back and change anything that you've done. But what you can do is you can always shape what's about to come to the best of your ability. You can't control every single thing, but you can definitely do your best to make yourself a better person every day. Things don't happen overnight. Things happen in steps, not giant leaps. Mm-hmm. And he's absolutely right. And it could be in anything you do. And all these talks I had with my friend Jerry, I always felt like, he wanted me to take care of myself, in life, whether it be in a martial art, dojo, outside the dojo, it could be anything, and I really felt that, for the few years that I was friends with him before he passed on, It was like heaven sent. You know, I mean, the people that you interact with happen for a reason. And if I didn't hang around with these negative people, I wouldn't know that I was turning negative, and I wouldn't know to get out of this mess. You know, if you tie a knot, you got to untie it yourself. And I don't want to make too big more of a deal of this, but in summation, all I have to say to everybody who's listening to this is, number one, thank you for giving me this forum to say it. Number two, you know, guys and gals out there, if you got to make changes in your life, whether it be people, whether it be habits, whether it be goals, whether it be rising above anything through any adversity, you know, you have to have that. You got to dig deep some way, somehow. You got to find a way and make yourself a better person, because nobody's going to do it for you, you know. And I'm not perfect by any means, but I strive to be. And, you know, time, if you love your life, love time, because time is all we have in this world, you know, and, you know, take nothing for granted out there, you know, and of course, obviously, above all this, you know, enjoy life and make sure you're happy, you know, and don't hang around with unhappy people, you know.
Amen.
Thanks,
brother.
Thanks, brother, for giving me that form there. You know, but I just want to air that out, you know.
Your show, your forum. You know, I guess sometimes you just gotta get it off your chest.
Your money.
I am money. Thank you. I am
no,
money.
No,
you're right. All right, let's move on.
You spend other people's money.
Let's move on to the next topic.
Especially my cut of the money on this network.
What? How dare you? You still owe me $30. You still owe me $30.
And you owe me royalties.
You want to do this on the air? I'll walk.
You want to walk? You really think? Do you really think I need you on this show?
Oh, you need me like the moon needs the sun.
You don't think the yin can exist without the yang, huh?
Absolutely.
You are the Devon to my Bubba Ray Dudley. All you've done is you've gone to get my tables, or whatever the hell else he said in that promo.
I'm sorry. That means if I'm Devon, I'm Office, baby.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, this fun bickering. This is what makes us the yin and the yang, right? Now, I had said earlier in the program that we were going to go above the law, which, speaking of, by the way, this is the 30th anniversary of the movie Above the Law.
Above the Law.
Starring with Steven Seagal.
Oh, all right. His
very first movie that came out. Now,
that was his first?
Yes, that was his first.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right. Now, what's interesting about let me make sure that I say this. I am not endorsing Steven Seagal in any way. I'm not paid, maybe Larry is, to endorse Steven Seagal, but I am. I'm a fan, and I remember when I saw this movie, I was 12 years old, and for the first time, I have never seen a movie like Above the Law. And remember, I told you that my dad would take me to see the most violent martial art films in the world. And I remember watching this movie for the first time. I was fascinated. I was absolutely fascinated by the art of Aikido. Aikido is an art that was created by the late, great Morihei Ueshiba, who was known as O-Sensei, meaning the all-knowing master. And he was this elderly man, very small. He was only about like 5 feet, 5'2" at most. Oh, wow. And he created an art during times of chaos in his home country of Japan. He lived through World War II. He lived through a lot of adversity. And he created an art that wants to restore peace in the world because he lived in a time of chaos. And I think one of the greatest things that O-Sensei once had said was that he wants to give back to the earth that has gave him life, you know? And he wrote a book called The Art of Peace. And I'll get into that in a moment. But, you know, Steven Seagal is an Aikido master. I mean, he's done demonstrations around the world. He's a well-known actor. And yes, look, I know, and let's be honest here, I know that he's in a lot of trouble with a lot of allegations about sexual harassment, sexual assault, whatever it may be. But that we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the 30th anniversary of this film. And what makes this film unique is when I had seen it, I've never seen martial arts violence the way that I have. It's one thing to see a guy get punched in the face or kicked in the head or whatever it may be in a Van Damme film. But I've never seen an art like Aikido, and I've never seen it executed the way he did. I didn't know Steven Seagal was fluent in Japanese. I also didn't realize, yeah, he is. And I didn't, because he lived in Japan and was the first gaijin, meaning a foreigner, to open a successful running and operated martial arts Aikido school in Japan. And he learned amongst the masters. In a way, you can kind of say that Above the Law is loosely based on his life. And he plays this tough guy cop, and who wants to clean up the streets of his neighborhood, because of the drug trade. And it was, basically he was a former CIA operative in the movie. And it was pretty cool. The movie was starring Pam Grier, Henry Silva, who is Zagon, is the bad guy. And, I've just never seen in film a person I'm not talking about like off camera breaking arms and legs. This was just, I've never seen something like that before. So as a 12-year-old kid with an impressionable mind, this movie had done lots for martial arts and for Aikido, because for the first time, people didn't see an art on display, in martial art films that, for so long people have seen, striking. For the first time, people had seen actual joint locking, throwing, and it was just, huh? Did you just say cock blocking?
I said pop locking, so I don't know what you're thinking of.
Well, you do cock block anyway, so don't matter. Yes, you do. Anyway, so just go back into our previous episodes. You'll see what I mean. and it's just, I've never seen something like that before, at that time. And Steven Seagal did lots for Aikido, because before this movie, people heard about the art. They've never actually seen it applied in film. They've never actually seen the art and what it can do. And after this movie, Aikido schools start popping up everywhere in the United States. The problem is that in Brooklyn, I really was so fascinated by the art. The problem that we had growing up is that there's no YouTube. You could practically learn an art on YouTube at this point.
Oh, absolutely.
With the way things are going,
people taught themselves how to play musical instruments on YouTube alone.
Yeah, exactly. You can do so much on YouTube, but on social media, we don't have that back in those days. So, I asked my dad, could, if you find me an Aikido school? We couldn't find any in Brooklyn, New York. And it was very hard. To find one, and my dad would not allow me to trek out to Manhattan, by myself. It's 12 years old.
Yeah, right.
So for so many years, and then I had a friend of mine who learned Aikido in school when I was about 16 or 17, and he started taking Aikido because he lived in Queens, but he would come to Brooklyn for high school because of his mom, and we started trading knowledge. So I taught him Taekwondo, and then he taught me, and we exchanged knowledge pretty much. I gave him my Taekwondo, he gave me Aikido. And it was pretty awesome, man. It was, shit hurts. Let me just say that, And if you guys have not seen this movie, check it out. And by the way, may I also say something from a man's standpoint? Pam Grier's freaking hot in this movie.
I don't think I've ever seen the movie. I got to check it out.
You've never seen the movie Above the Law? You're shitting me, right?
I've never seen Above the Law.
No, come on.
I had no interest in seeing it.
Really?
Yeah, until now. Now you talked it up.
Now, here's what's interesting about this film, right? If you look at him in a lot of Steven Seagal's films, he plays almost in a way an anti-hero. He's labeled as a good guy, he's a cop or whatever.
Like
right?
Death Wish.
Well, in Death Wish, Charles Bronson was a vigilante.
That's true. Yeah.
And Bruce Willis was a vigilante. I mean, but he was considered a.
I'm not mentioning the new ones.
Oh, okay. Thank God. I love Bruce Willis, but come on, man. I'm not a fan of that film, But yeah, he was more of a vigilante, Charles Bronson, and I mean, but with Above the Law, and even with like Out for Justice and Hard to Kill, he's almost like an anti-hero because when you think about it now, I didn't think of it back then as a kid, but when you're looking back at it now, he plays these police officers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could probably almost not get away with it. In a way, when you look at him, he has this tough guy, brash attitude. He's almost like a bully.
Yeah,
the way he smacks people up. Oh, yeah. If you ever watch this film,
bitch up.
You used that last week. Sorry.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry.
Okay. And the thing is, it's almost weird in a way to kind of see an anti-hero character.
Yeah.
On film. You know what I mean? So that was odd. That was different. And it just, 30 years later, it's still an awesome movie. Looking at it now, it's still a class. It's a classic, yes, but it's still an awesome film. You should definitely go check it out, Larry.
I certainly will. I certainly will.
All right. Now, speaking of films, let's segue into a different one. Okay?
Okay.
Now, the film that we're going to talk about here is something I actually recently discovered. Now, I spoke to you about Philip Ree. Next year will be the 30th anniversary of the movie Best of the Best, starring Philip Ree and Eric Roberts. And I cannot lie to you. This is going to be pretty fucking awesome. To talk about that, and which is one of my absolute favorite martial art films. But recently, there was something very interesting that I had uncovered, and I didn't even know about this probably because the promotion wasn't that great. But I didn't realize that in 2015, Philip Ree did a movie called Underdog Kids. And, Philip Ree is known for the Best of the Best series, part 1, 2, 3, and 4. Part 1 was in movies. Part 2 was in movie theaters too, but it just bombed completely. And 3 and 4 were direct to video. And then he didn't make any movies since 1998. And then out of nowhere, 2015, he comes up with this one movie called Underdog Kids. Now, it's exactly what it is. It's about a group of inner city kids or poor children who live in a very blue collar town, and they go up against a team that has everything in the Beverly Hills Scorpions. So the mid-city underdogs go up against team karate competition against the Beverly Hills Scorpions, and it's a family-friendly film. It's like a kids film, almost like a family type film.
Okay.
There's no cursing involved. There's no excessive violence. I mean, there is martial art violence, but there's a reason and a meaning for everything. Now, I'm a big Philip Ree fan. Even I didn't know about that, so I kind of feel like I should slap myself in the face for it. Don't get. Oh well, I knew you were going to say that. You see how much hatred he has for me, fans. You see this? He wants to slap his own best friend of 25 years in the face
for $1 million.
If
someone would give you said for $1 million, you have to punch your best friend in the face.
Oh, I know you'd do it for free. But knowing you, since you love money so much, you would take the $1 million, wouldn't you?
In a heartbeat, I'd break your nose for $1 million. Absolutely.
You are an absolute horrible role model for the children that listen to this show.
No. The horrible role models would be their parents for letting them listen to this show.
No, wait a minute. We do good things on this show.
We've said cunt and pussy on this show.
Jeremiah, please edit that one sentence out, please. Listen, are you really going to expose the business? Are you going to kayfabe the business? Is that what you're going to do?
I am trying to kayfabe the business.
No, you're not. You're trying to paint me as a horrible individual. No, actually, you're painting yourself as a horrible individual. You know what? Jeremiah, mute his mic.
What are you talking?
Now, thank God. Thank you very much, Jeremiah. I appreciate it. Now, allow me to finish what I was about to say about Underdog Kids here. So within this film, it's a film that has a diverse cast, great martial art choreography. It's just absolutely phenomenal. You get to see a lot of the legends play judges in the tournament, such as Benny the Jet Urquidez, Richard Norton, Jun Chong, Master Jun Chong, Danny Inosanto, who was Bruce Lee's one of Bruce Lee's top students. And, it's just a great film. If you guys can obtain it, definitely check it out. I have my DVD copy. And there's this one scene where they're training, and there's something that Philip Reed narrates, which is just absolutely great. And, he talks about when you were born, you don't have, and I'm not quoting this word for word, but he says, when you're born, you don't have the choice to choose what race you are. You cannot choose whether you're rich or poor. And you certainly don't have a choice in what people think about you. But what you do have control of is your life and the choices that you make. And if you have the ability to choose to be a winner. And it's just a great, inspiring piece. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto YouTube. I'm going to find it. I'm going to attach it onto the Yin and Yang Facebook page and just be inspired by it, man. That's all I got to say. Now that I'm done with that, can we please unmute Mr. Mormon's mic? Hello, Larry?
So then I said, look, for $20, all you have to do is just real quick go down.
Mute him again. Mute him again.
No.
Mute him again. Mute him. God damn. What the hell is wrong with him today? What has he got? What are you on? What? $20 go, what? Sickening. Absolutely sickening. What a horrible role model this guy is. Anyway, let's see. Jeremiah, is he calm now? Is he calm now? You give me the nod? You sure about this one? I swear to you, I will unleash Ensign over there. He'll smack you up again. He's calm, right? All right.
I'm good.
Unmute him.
I'm good.
No. Mute him again.
What?
Mute him again. I did not give you the okay. I didn't give you the signal, Jeremiah. When I give you the signal, when my hand goes up your mouth, well, your mouth is already shut anyway. When I give you the signal, then you put Mr. Mormon's mic back on, okay? All right. 3, 2. Oh, I didn't say 1 yet. Hi, see, I caught you. I caught you sleeping, my friend. All right. 1. Go ahead. Put Mr. Mormon's mic back on.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on?
Yeah, you're on.
Why was I muted? That wasn't even my fault.
You were talking about some weird thing back there for $20. I'll give you $20 to shut the hell up.
I could use $20. I mean, that's just rude.
Wait a second. Do you want me to play the clip one time when you were locked out when you said you only had $200 in your hand?
What?
Right? And how disgraceful it was that you only had $200 in your hand? And the filth that you felt? You laugh now. I'm just exposing you for the con artist that you are.
There's this fine line between con artist and entrepreneur.
Yeah, they all in your book they all equal the bullshit artist. In which, by the way, what is the status of your book coming out this summer called "I Probably Screwed You Too," the Larry Mormon story?
It's #1 on the pre-sale. I mean, that's none of your business right now as to what it may be. You know what? Mute his mic. Jeremiah, mute his mic.
Wait a minute. I'm the host of...
Yeah, you see? You see? Who has the power? Who has the power? I do. I have the power. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow you, because I've gone solo before. I can carry a show by myself. But this is your show. Jeremiah or Ensign, whichever one of you is running the board, feel free to pod back up Mr. Chu and let his mic turn on.
How dare you do that to me? I work my ass off to do a positive, good show for the people
Mute it
who listen
again.
to this. Hey.
So, folks, coming up now is a segment that I personally love. And quite honestly, I feel like maybe I should do it myself. Yes. I'll even do it live. I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. That's right. I do it Oh, man, I don't know what that was. Mute him back up. God, I can't stand that. Mute him back up. At least he hits play.
Is this on? Is this on?
It's on.
What the hell are you doing to me this week? Why are you going to do that to me? Huh?
Jeremiah, can you clean that up off the wall? Thank you.
Oh.
Let's move on, sir. Because
the heck are you doing out there?
I think it's time for the greatest segment in the history of podcasts, the greatest segment in the history of all mankind. Sir, is it time?
I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
Now, that's how you really do it. All right. Now, you may be wondering, what is the topic for this week? And I don't even think, Larry, you know. You know?
No, God forbid you tell me.
Yeah, right. Well, allow me to unveil it and allow me to explain further and elaborate exactly what this topic is about this week. Now, we here at the Yin and the Yang, we stress and emphasize health, fitness, motivation, and it's not easy to practice what you preach, right? Now, here's the thing, right? And this is becoming very, very troublesome. It's also very tiring. Have you ever watched TV and every other goddamn commercial that you see is about some fucking pill?
Yeah, actually.
Whether it be for this illness, this ailment, this disease, blah, blah, blah.
Weight loss.
Whatever the fuck, right? It make your dick bigger, birth control, fucking all these other chronic diseases and shit like that. I'm fucking so sick and tired of this crap. I really am. Enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. I'm sick and tired of watching these things. There should be a law that states they cannot do these commercials. Because, folks, we tell you to take care of yourselves and work out and eat right for a reason to as preventive maintenance to take care of yourselves. Because if you haven't noticed yet, all of these pills have some sort of bad side effect.
Usually
and
death.
They make it, right, and they always make it out to be, like this is going to be okay for you. Well, it's going to solve one thing and then fuck up another, right? And everything's got to be all fucking, it's all about money. So has anyone not noticed as of late that all these commercials and all these ads, on TV or on fucking radio or on social media, you know what they're designed to do? They're designed to kill people. They're designed to fucking kill people. They basically, and this is my take on the whole medical industry. The whole point of the medical industry is that they are fucking people who work for the devil. All they do, look, you go to a doctor, right? And if you got a broken something or you hurt a ligament or you hurt a tendon or you dislocated something or you separated something, okay, by all means, go to see a physician, right? You got to go to rehab, whatever it may be. You got to go to a chiropractor, whatever. That's fine. But if you haven't noticed yet, the whole point of the medical industry, of doctors and nurses, and I don't even know about nurses, but just doctors in general, their whole fucking thing is basically just med you up as much as you can. Live off that so you can just, live the life you want, and then you're going to pay the consequences later. That's the whole point of this shit, right? Is that they want to med you up to the degree where they keep you on there because they probably get kickbacks for it. It's a billion, possibly $1 trillion industry. And I'm tired of seeing these fucking commercials. I'm fucking tired of seeing people go down that road where they just can't take care of themselves and they hurt themselves. Enough is enough, folks. It's time to think outside the box. We are the only, and by the way, and for the international travelers, and visitors who come from other countries, who live in other countries, who listen to this show, allow me to understand allow me to explain to you very clearly that we are the only superpower nation in the world that does not provide free healthcare to its citizens. No matter what political affiliation, no matter what your political stance, it is a known fact. We are the only country in this world that is a first world nation, a superpower country that does not have universal health care for its citizens. So if we don't have that, don't you think it's time that you should take care of yourselves better, folks? Because you don't want to fall into this trap where you're going to fucking, just to live a day, you're going to take every fucking med you can that you see on this TV. It ain't good for you. So to every pharmaceutical company that comes up with this shit, sells these ads, and sells death, this is what I have to say to you. Do you know what happens?
Wow, you went into that quick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, if you want me to rant more, go ahead.
We're good. We're good. I like it.
Because it's a very disturbing concept, and it's sickening. I mean, just fuck. Yeah, do you know what happens, huh? Pharmaceutical industry, when you come up with shit that hurts people, not help them. You know what happens, huh?
Hit him with it, Chew.
To the entire medical industry that falls under this category, to whomever promotes it, fuck you. Fuck anybody that wants to be like you, and fuck anybody who's on your fucking side. You just got chewed out.
Oh, wow. That was a whole medical facility. Good God. Fuck. Oh, good God.
Thank you, DDP. It really is. It's sickening, man.
You're right. I do it myself every day.
Larry, you and I, we love our food, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with eating something that's bad for you once a week, whatever the hell it is, right?
I wish I
There's
could do
nothing
it once a
wrong
week.
with that, okay? Well, I'm just saying, but at some point, you got to discipline yourself, and you got to eat right, take care of yourself, because everything you put into your system will either harm you or help you, or heal you.
Yep.
It's either harm or heal. There's no other way. And, sometimes, man, it's almost scary to see what's out there. And, it's time that we take care of ourselves better and take a stand at this and say, fuck these fucking pills and all this other shit. Look, exactly, a double fuck you, all right? Absolutely, like Stone Cold Steve Austin style, you know what I mean? Shit.
All right, that was good.
I've been waiting a while.
You have? I guess you're all worked up. We got to bring you back down. You know what? As much as you're all worked up, as much as you're fired up, I think it's time to allow the positive in. Namaste, the third eye. Remember that, the third eye. Allow the positiveness when we go to the emails.
There you go. Finally. Woof. And with the way the emails look this week, it don't look like it's too positive either.
Uh-oh. Go ahead. I was going to say, I was watching a little bit of Impact Wrestling Redemption with the still reigning Impact X Division champion,
yes, can we talk
Matt
about something
Sydal.
Good? Please, go ahead. Take it away. Because I didn't watch the Impact pay-per-view last night, so go ahead.
No. Long story short, Impact, it's called Redemption for a reason. They rebranding. No, I wouldn't say rebranding, but they have new management. Scott D'Amore, Don Callis. I think they're there in booking roles and management, and they purposely put on this pay-per-view called Redemption to redeem themselves with the fans. They said they know they have to get the fans back one person at a time. And last night is where it started. They had all new championship belts. They finally looks like they're going on their own path as opposed to, is it TNA? Is it Global Force Wrestling? Is it Anthem? What's going on? And their working relationship with Lucha Underground was huge last night. during the pay-per-view. Long story short, we have a new Impact Wrestling champion in Pentagon Jr. So a Lucha Underground wrestler is the Impact Wrestling champion. All in all, I thought it was a great pay-per-view. It's better than some TNA pay-per-views of the past, better than some Impact pay-per-views of the past. You know, they're back to the four-sided ring, which I like. I'm more of a traditionalist with the four-sided ring. It didn't look like they were going off on silly, stupid gimmicks or whatever. I mean, the only thing I probably would say is, for some reason, now Scott Steiner is one half of the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions. But admittedly, Scott Steiner also did a top rope Frankensteiner, which was quite impressive.
Wow.
There was also a whole section.
Does he still look like he's roided up?
You know what? He was wearing a shirt during the match, so a little hard to tell. But it was funny. A whole section of the audience was chanting "Fuck you, Scott Steiner." So that almost set him off. But all in all, it was a great show. Again, I feel good about this direction that Impact is going in, and I only hope for the best. No one ever wants to see a wrestling group go under. If anything, that's less places to work for someone to work. So all the best to Impact Wrestling. I'll be keeping an eye out. I'm not saying I'm going to watch every week, but I will definitely keep an eye out. And they have a show coming up. Their next pay-per-view is Slammiversary at some entertainment joint up in Toronto, like the largest entertainment complex in Toronto. So it'll be interesting to see about that.
Well, let me ask you something before we segue to the Q&A. What is now? I know you're a very diehard WWE fan, and you're watching Impact Wrestling. For the fans who don't watch or didn't watch Impact, right? What is the difference between a WWE product as opposed to an Impact product now?
I mean, WWE is always going to be bigger. They're always going to be on a grander stage. I mean, literally, look, WrestleMania was in the Superdome. Today, the day the podcast drops, they're going to be airing live from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, in a facility that I think holds about 50 or 60,000 people. I think it's like an indoor-outdoor venue over there in Saudi Arabia. But WWE, someone put it actually really best, and you can swap out WCW and put Impact Wrestling into this almost. Someone said a long time ago, WCW was a television show trying to be a wrestling show, where the WWE is a wrestling show trying to be a television show.
That's a great way to put it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, WWE, you wrestle for the show. You wrestle for the camera. It's just the style.
And make no mistake about it, the WWE production quality is ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they are so good at what they do in their production facilities and the concepts and what they do. And I don't want to give Kevin Dunn a lot of credit, but allow me to say that their production value is top notch, and nobody can withstand to even compare. However, Impact I've always found to be more secular. It's more, even though it's on a national scale, you can actually see it from a national scale. Look at Impact this way. I think that right now, with what they're doing, is they're trying to erase the TNA concept.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're trying to start fresh, and everybody deserves a second chance.
Well, they've had this is like the third or fourth.
Now what they did was that they changed it. It's now a Canadian-based company. They left Nashville, I believe, right?
They did.
And I mean,
they got their stories. Look, wrestling is telling a story. It always has been. Even during the days of Bruno Sammartino, he's still telling a story. How that story's told, that depends on the company you're with. Ring of Honor doesn't differ from Impact, who does it different from New Japan, who does it different from WWE. And there's nothing wrong with any of them.
Well, what do you now consider the second best company in the United States?
In the U.S., Ring of Honor.
Would you?
Yes.
I mean, over Impact?
Yes.
Well, now that Impact is Canadian, I mean, you cannot make
North
that
America.
By the book. You can't. Okay, so in North America, you believe WWE is obviously number one. Number two, you really believe is ROH?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
And then
What's
three
number
being
three?
Impact. Being Impact.
Being Impact.
Now,
all right.
globally, I would say 1 is WWE, 2 is New Japan, and 3 is Ring of Honor. But
I
even
mean, above All Japan and Noah.
I would say I'd be honest with you. I don't see as much about All Japan and Noah. They're there, I know, but New Japan is on a global scale. New Japan is almost recognizable in a household. Japanese wrestling. If someone thinks Japanese wrestling and they're familiar with companies, I think they're going to think New Japan first. New Japan has done shows here in the U.S. They've done 2 shows already. They've opened up a dojo in L.A. or reopened up a dojo in L.A.
There you go. Okay. So as long as it's a good pay-per-view.
It was enjoyable. There was some botches. No, I wouldn't say botches, but some guys had trouble bouncing off the ropes. I think the ropes were maybe a little too tight. They really didn't get much spring on there.
Okay.
I was just going to say, all in all, was really, really good.
Okay. My one gripe with Impact, well, actually with TNA, not even so much, and I guess you can tie them into Impact, is that I have a good friend of mine named Bob Rowe, who actually worked for TNA and transitioning it into Impact Wrestling. And he was their production person. And I remember Bob Rowe used to get us into the shows, as complimentary tickets. And everybody who knew me thought that I was his nephew, which was funny. And no, literally, there were fucking people coming up to me, right? They see me hug him and everything like that. Fans were coming up to me like, how the hell do you know him? And, and even like some of the talent or some of the people who worked for the company, behind the scenes were coming up to me like, hey, how are you? My name is whatever. And like, you remember when we went to the Hammerstein and they did like fucking 4 hours, 5 hours?
Manhattan Center. I was featured on their show. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, no, because I gave you that seat, you fuck. All right. I couldn't believe you got on camera more times than Jenna Jameson. Anyway, that was a bad comparison.
I just sat there first.
Yeah, well, no, because I told you to sit there, and I knew how much of you'd mark out, and it showed on camera, by the way, how much you marked out, right? Especially for Rebel, you bastard. You got to touch her hand. Fuck. And I was like,
I can look them up. I have the GFW app. I can look up those old episodes.
Oh, I'm sure you do. And people would come up to me and they would say, hey, how do you know Bob Rowe? And one time he actually was funny. He actually introduced me as his nephew. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. I guess it's Uncle Bob, and they fucking fired him.
It happens, unfortunately.
They released him. They future endeavored him. And then before they moved to Canada, he was their longtime guy. He was like the Jim Johnston of the WWF.
Who was just released.
WWE. Who was just released.
Months, yeah.
And fucking, so now Bob Rowe, he actually, we talked, and he actually said to me, he now works for Glory Kickboxing.
Okay.
And I believe he also is, I don't know if he works for Lucha Underground, but he works for somebody within a Lucha Libre, United States promotion, or Lucha Libre style, United States promotion. But he does Glory Kickboxing. And by the way, they are coming to New York at some point. So,
okay.
The theater at Madison Square Garden, and I think
you mean
that
the Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden?
It's called the Hulu Theater now?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But anyway, we could probably get tickets. I'm sure
Absolutely.
Uncle Bob will take care of us.
Yeah, and it's a non-sanctioned, more the same network production, so we will have nothing to do with
you don't have to pay for the tickets, so you have nothing to worry about.
Let's get to the question and answers.
Cheap son of a bitch.
Let's get to the questions and answers, for crying out loud.
Yeah, all right. Keep dodging the questions here.
Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge.
I'm sure that's your 5 Ds, right?
I'll give you 5D. Oh, wait a minute.
Whoa!
Whoa. Edit that part out. Where are you?
Whoa!
Edit that part out. Thank you.
You're touching me right now.
What? How can I be? I'm in a completely different part of
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you'd like a completely different part, too. That's a different story. Anyway, let's not turn this into the better half.
I close my eyes. I want you before me. Hey, R.I.P. Vern Troyer.
Yeah, I guess so. Poor guy. You almost had a whoa! The hell are you doing, man? This is becoming pretty disgusting now. Poor Vern Troyer. Is that what you have to say about him?
No, actually, he killed himself, I think.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not even know that.
We could have gotten his autograph back in October.
Yep, that's true. That is
I wasn't
true.
spending $70 on him, though.
Oh, well, that's what he was charging? Eesh.
Yeah. All right, question
and
answer.
Q&A? Can we take care of the fans now?
What? Thank you.
Before we do, I just want to say, I don't want anybody else. When Larry thinks about you, he touches himself. All right.
I hate how your name rhymes with everything.
It's like we would say at the grind, do no wrong. Choose wisely. CHU apostrophe S, of course. Choose wisely. Anyway.
How is it not racist when you say it? That's not cool.
Well, no, because there's a guy in the grind named Wong.
Oh, okay.
So the joke is do no wrong, choose wisely.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so Q&A. This is written by the fans, for the fans, to the fans. And our first question of the week comes from Mr. Brian Taylor. Brian Taylor writes to us from Saginaw. I don't even know what the fucking didn't even say the state. But anyway, I guess I'm going to say Saginaw, Michigan. Hey, if you want to correct me, Brian, let me know. But he asked, what is your comments and thoughts about Joe Rogan? Do you consider this guy to be do you consider this guy to be tough, legitimate, or do you think he's a work? Okay. Here's the deal, all right? You like mosquitoes, Larry? Okay, and so is Joe Rogan, all right? Because the way that I look upon it is that Joe Rogan is a TV personality, all right? And not only that, he's not only a TV personality, but here's a guy who is real good in Taekwondo. He's a supposed martial artist, and then what he did is he's the face of the UFC. He was the face of Fear Factor. He has his own comedy show, and he's a successful guy. So what happens is power gets to your head. And then all of a sudden, like you, Larry. So what happens is eventually what eventually happens is that this guy decided to stop doing Taekwondo, and he started taking up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Eddie Bravo's 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. I believe it's in Florida or California. It's one of the two. So all of a sudden now he takes BJJ courses and he gets his black belt, and all of a sudden now Joe Rogan's a badass. And it gives him a license to be a douche, because now Joe Rogan can call out people like Brock Lesnar. He can call out and say stupid, outrageous claims. Ronda Rousey would kick Bruce Lee's ass. Chinese Kung Fu is a joke. Yeah. Classic Chinese Kung Fu is a joke. It means nothing. He compares everything to the MMA world. He thinks that everything, the measuring stick for fighters and martial art ability is based upon comparing it to MMA. And this is a guy who claims he's a tough guy and thinks he's so good. And yet, you know what he does? He needs a humbling, okay? Is what he needs. He's a big fucking guy with a mouth. And he thinks he's a big guy and he has a mouth. I don't like Joe Rogan. I'm not a fan of his. I like him as much as I like Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. So you know what? That, my friend, you now join the Asshole Hall of Fame. Oh, and that's my response.
Wow. I didn't even know we had
inducted Joe Rogan. You're inducted into the fucking Asshole Hall of Fame here at Yin and The Yang.
How many people are in the Asshole Hall of Fame?
Well, there's him. There's Ian Calderon. There's, and by the way, if you're listening to this, fuck you there, asshole. Conor McJackass, Floyd Bitchweather.
That's four. Right?
Yeah, he can get onto the realities of life as far as I'm concerned. Fuck him. All right. And there's a few other people.
Okay.
All right. And let's see here. So the second question comes from Katarina, a.k.a. Cat Zio. And listen to this one. Larry, We finally got spam mail
Uh-oh.
on the Yin and Yang podcast. She apparently claims that her husband left her. This is not even a fucking question. I just wanted to read this shit out. That to whomever it may concern, not even to us. It's just that to whomever it may concern. My husband has dearly passed on and is now wants us to, in his will, to leave a goodwill, good gesture to good people. I kid you not. You can't write this shit up. We would like to have you claim, for all the good that you've done in this world, to claim your $500,000 reward by responding to this email that my dear late husband has worked for the Nigerian government.
Oh boy!
All right. So we ask of you our best to you, and we ask of you to please respond. Oh, I want to respond. All right. Here's what my response is there, Katerina. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to send the Yin and the Yang podcasting fucking show and the More of the Same network $500,000, be my guest. All right. However, please talk to our attorneys at Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Oh.
And my agent Swifty Flanagan. All right. And please make sure you cut the check out to a guy named Huang. All right. Yes, and we will be more than glad to accept your $500,000 check.
Wowzers.
Fucking blithering dipshit. Now, the third question comes from a gentleman named Wyatt. Wyatt writes to us from, of all places, Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Oh boy.
Doesn't that ring a bell?
Ooh.
I wonder, hey Wyatt, I wonder if you're going to go watch bare knuckle boxing on June 2nd. All right. So Wyatt asks, are there any training tools that you could recommend to me to do at home for somebody who does not have a whole lot of time? Well, Wyatt, this is a great question, and unfortunately, he's not offering us $500,000. But nevertheless, that's a very nice question. And Wyatt, my one answer to you is go on Amazon and get something called the TRX. These are bands that are developed by the Navy SEALs for functional strength training and cardio. Let me tell you, you can hang it on the door. It's only about $50 to $100 depending on what model you get.
I've used them. I love them.
You've used them? They are phenomenal, aren't they? And
Absolutely.
Even Larry himself has used these, and they are unbelievable because you could do compound movements, meaning you could do more than one movement per time. They use your own body weight. There's no weights included. It works up a good cardio sweat. You do gain functional strength. So check it out. TRX bands are phenomenal. All right?
Absolutely.
So fans, if you have any questions for us, please hit us up at yinandyangpodcast@gmail.com. That's once again for the people, yinandyangpodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
So Larry, we're down the home stretch and we're gonna basically finish this off.
Okay.
And we are going to promote something here. It is called the just when we thought we were out, they pull us back in tour. And what's interesting about this is the simple concept that Chiller Theater is our next stop, right?
It is. I'll be there for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, but the Yin and the Yang podcast will be there Sunday. I'm looking forward. I got my list of autographs. I'm going to get some autographs Saturday. I will save some for Sunday, but my two big ones are Richard Dreyfuss and Alan Oppenheimer.
Oh, yeah. Who does the voice of Skeletor?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
For those of you fans who are wondering exactly where this is, it's going to be from April 27th till April 29th at the Hilton Parsippany in Parsippany, New Jersey. We go to this twice a year, which is only promoted twice a year. Listen to the guest list here, Larry. 2001 Space Odyssey. Two fans, Gary Lockwood, Keir Dullea will be there. Dan Richter from Moonwatcher. The original West Side Story cast. Two gentlemen will be there, which is George Chikaris, Russ Tamblyn, Richard Dreyfuss, you had mentioned, Jerry Kramer, who plays Deputy Hendricks, will be there. There's an Animal House reunion for those of you who are into that film. The guy I wanted to meet was Bruce McGill, but he's not going to be there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Let's see. The Deathmobile from Animal House will be there. Here's a nice name. Lyle Wagner.
Lyle Wagner.
Right? Really? Because that's the way that they're...
Yeah, I know. It's pronounced Wagner.
Wagner?
Yep.
Okay. He was on the Carol Burnett show, Wonder Woman. There's a Subspecies reunion. I don't even know who these people are, but the legendary Sonny Chiba, who I might get an autograph from, will be there.
Ultraman.
Dora Kraus from Ultraman will be there. Dee Snider. Now, Larry, I will give you money since I cannot be there on Saturday. Dee Snider will be there only on Friday and Saturday. If you go up to Dee, get him an autograph, right? And I want to actually get an autograph, not for a friend of mine. So,
all right, we'll talk.
Yeah, Bobby Brady, Mike Lukelin will be there. The original Grease cast, Jeremy London.
I'm looking to get his autograph.
Are you?
Yeah, he was in Mallrats.
Oh, yes, that's right. The one person from the Grease cast that I want to meet is Lorenzo Lamas, who also was in Renegade, and he did a lot of other cheap fucking films. Vinnie Vincent, the Kiss guitarist. Some guys called the Misfits of Magic. French Stewart, Michelle Johnson. George Wendt will be there.
He was boring last time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Joanna Cassidy, Lee Grant, all these other people. I want to also meet Adrian King.
Okay.
Christy Agnes will be there.
I want to meet Karen Allen.
Karen Allen, yes. Karen Allen. Kent McCord, who's on Battlestar Galactica, Dragnet. No, Sequest, no? Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember Dragnet, Pagan, People Against Good and Nice.
Yeah, Brian Thompson, who is a good supporting actor. Diane Carroll, who was in the blaxploitation film of the 70s with James Earl Jones called Claudine. Mm-hmm. Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Ernie Hudson, who I've met. Alan Oppenheimer. And Stephanie Kramer is somebody I want to meet. And there's one more. There's one more, and then I'm going to finish off this list. Dude, I got to go meet Roscoe Orman, also known as Gordon from Sesame Street.
Yes. I didn't know he was in FX.
Yeah?
He was in the movie FX.
Yes, that's right. He is in the movie FX. Yes. So definitely want to go and check this out here. So we will be there. I may actually – oh, yes. And for me, April 25th, I will be in North Brunswick, New Jersey at watching the Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid in theaters, and then right afterwards, the first 2 episodes of Cobra Kai, which is going to debut on May 2nd on YouTube Red. So I will do that this Wednesday.
Cool.
At the same time, we are still considering going to Bruce Pritchard's Something to Wrestle With podcast, where he'll be doing it live with Conrad. I don't know what his last name is. Mm-hmm. But we may go there. There are a few other dates coming up. I'm still debating on whether or not we're going to go to Legends of the Ring or whether I'm going to go to the original Dawn of the Dead Fest over at Monroeville, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
That's my next few tour dates. How about yours?
I got, in no particular order, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. I got, what else do I have going on? That's mine's running a little thin, so I may have to double check all that.
Like my hairline.
Yep. Lack thereof.
Oh, crazy.
That's pretty much what I got. I got Raw coming up.
Crazy.
I got Raw coming up in a week or two.
Oh yeah, that's right.
In Nassau.
That's right. Yep. Yes, sir. So it's going to be a good time had by all. You know, definitely a good time. So nothing to worry about for sure. And other than that, man, all I got to say is, you guys have any questions for us? Just let us know. Hit us up. We will be more than glad to give you any shout outs that you ask us to do or promote anything. One last thing is that if you guys can get yourself there's a green tea that I've been drinking a lot. It's an unsweetened pure green tea from a company called Ito En, which is actually Japan's #1 green tea brand. This comes in a green bottle, right? And this is phenomenal stuff because it is 0 calorie. There's only 2 servings in one bottle. Comes out to 60 milligrams of sodium. There's no carbs, no sugars, no proteins. It's just straight up green tea, purified water, and absorbic acid, which is vitamin C. Other than that, definitely, guys and gals out there, thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you for the love and support, the overwhelming emails that we've been getting. We've been actually meeting fans in some of these appearances that we've been doing, so that's pretty awesome. And
some of them I give my hotel key to.
Okay. If there are 2, let me know. And other than that, I just want to say, Larry, thank you always for the great forum, for giving me this platform to spew the bullshit out of my brain. This is a great time had by the both of us, and hope that you love the show as much as we love doing it. Other than that, thank you so much, everybody. Take care of yourselves, eat right, work out. And by the way, if the Nigerian government would like to send us $500,000, please do so. Again, write us a check to Huang, directed to Huang at the More of the Same Network. Other than that, and we'll catch up with you next week, right, Larry?
Absolutely. And next week we will be live from Parsippany, New Jersey at the Chiller Theater Convention Sunday. Check us out as we tour the floor and talk the talk as we walk the walk, and we will bring our golden tones straight to New Jersey.
And you can't teach that. Peace.
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you